This week on PTL, we weigh in on Keith versus Wild Turtle, break down why Fnatic is the best team in LCS history, and blast you with a true shot barrage in League of Learning. Sound the alert! Primetime League starts right now!
Oh! What is he doing? What a play from Ninja! Flash Q into the turret!
Wow. Pawn with the plays, a triple kill!
The mid lane of the EDG is back. Gravity making a 2-0 week over CLG and TSM, and they end week 6 in first place.
Hello everyone and welcome to Primetime League. I'm Rivington Business III, and today we'll be taking a look at the top teams and top stories happening in the League of Legends esports scene. Thanks for joining us. Let's start off today with a look at one of the huge roster changes that hit the North American LCS. I'm sure you've all heard it. Just before the start of week 6, Cloud9 announced that Meteos would be stepping down as jungler and High would be coming out of retirement to fill in. Meteos commented on the surprise announcement, adding, "This was a difficult decision to make as clearly things on C9 have not been working out. I think stepping back for now and letting someone else jungle will help the team atmosphere and keep Cloud9 competitive in the LCS." Meteos was once regarded as one of the best junglers in the world, but he is currently in the midst of one of his worst splits ever, and the team is just 2 games out of last place as they find their once rock-solid roster crumbling. Before moving to mid lane, High was Cloud9's jungler when the team was called Quantic Gaming and fighting for a spot in the LCS. But that previous experience has not helped him or Cloud9 as the team had another disappointing O2 performance last week.
But Cloud9 wasn't the only team with big-name lineup changes this week. Last week, we broke the news that Team Solomid had purchased Keith's contract from Team Liquid and that Keith would be starting in the bot lane for Team Solomid on Saturday.
Yeah, but while Keith had spent the last 2 weeks wearing a TSM jacket, living in their house, and trying out with the team, he would have to prove that he was good enough to take Wild Turtle's spot as TSM took on a full-strength TDK.
And of course, last week, Team Dragonites had just come off of beating Team Dignitas, so we thought maybe TDK was the real deal. Ninja and Emperor quite good, and it starts out with First Blood and Keith in the bot lane.
Yeah, things look good for TDK at the beginning here. Smoothie and Kez combined for a very impactful gank with a Tristana in your lane. High kill pressure on that.
And that worked out really well. We also get to see Ninja in action. Bjergsen with some really nice skill shots. What's the flash? And a 3v1.
The juke, and then here comes the cavalry. Kez and Smoothie combining once again, this time to turn it around for Ninja.
Well, unfortunately, Ninja turns his own fights around. Flash is, I guess, a bit late, gets chunked out, and then the easy stun in a true shot barrage means an easy kill.
Right, at this point, TSM had regained the gold lead, and they punished TDK for every mistake that they make.
And fights continued and continued to go well for TSM. Even if TDK would eventually kill off Bjergsen, the fights would still go way too well for TSM.
Yep, there's the hook in for Dyrus, and Lustboy's going to get the lantern over to another hook as well in the middle.
You see a whole bunch of bursts. Bjergsen does die, but it's after killing Ninja. Again, 3-for-1 TSM. Keith still alive with persistent damage in the back line, able to push in towards the Nexus because of fights like this one. TSM take a very long, but a win overall.
Yeah, pretty much it was about the Burger King there. That AP Ezreal doing a lot of work for TSM in their first game of the week.
Yeah, definitely really strong. And we can actually look at how Keith himself did in that game. Overall scoreline actually pretty solid, 5.7 KDA. This is the kind of KDA I expect from an AD carry of TSM. Just be consistent.
Yeah.
Of course, the problem is you can see his scoreline here in the laning phase, -10 CS at 10, got first blooded as well. Not great.
Yeah, he received a few ganks early on, but he was on Silver as well, so he was able to be that teamfight AD carry for them.
Yeah, teamfight power was still fine. That's all they kind of needed. But TSM, of course, decided to give Wild Turtle a chance to say, "Keith who?" And on Sunday, they subbed in Turtle for their game against Gravity. Gravity had the chance to take first place from TSM or tie them for it if Gravity would win here.
Right. The thing too bad for Turtle is that Gravity, a very strong opponent that were ready for the AP Ezreal after seeing it in the first game of the week. Start off really strong here, move on the Nidalee, does go sight zone once again, and he's able to have the early impact, killing off Dyrus there.
And it's a game of people flashing late and getting caught with the skill shots. Chaos dunk by Keen, destroying the front line, destroying the back line, just an MR stacking team made it easy.
And that clip right there really showed just how well Gravity were prepared for this game. Instantly destroy the AP Ezreal. Bjergsen does not get to have a repeat game.
And you can see a very early 37-minute Dragon 5 is all Gravity needed to win this game. They held map control the whole time, just simply played the waiting game, all their lanes went. You can see only took 8 kills to win the game. They took more objectives than kills that one.
Preparation, communication, execution. Gravity got full marks on everything for that game. Beautiful execution by them.
Yeah, I think it was my favorite NALCS game of the split. So overall, after Gravity's victory over Team Solomid, here are the current standings in the North American LCS. We can see TSM isn't immune to Gravity's pull, and now those two teams are tied for first place.
And it's a mess of ties as those first place teams are followed by Team Dignitas and Liquid in a tie for third, and just behind them, CLG and Impulse in a tie for fourth.
Okay, so even though Keith had a slightly better statistical week than Wild Turtle, Turtle will be starting for the team on Saturday when they face Team 8.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a large part of the difference in the kills and deaths. Obviously have to go with the strength of opponent there for Gravity. TSM ran into a team that was just way more ready for them, and they obviously feel confident in Turtle's abilities to put him back in and start this for the first day. We don't know if they're going to swap him for Sunday.
That's true. We'll see how he does, but I think he's definitely a very good player. Of course, arguments could be made on either side, whether you keep Keith or Wild Turtle, but Jat does just that in a brand new segment we call Jat 22.
Three weeks ago, news broke that TSM was looking at benching Wild Turtle in favor of Keith from Team Liquid. And last week, we got to see Keith play his first game in a TSM uniform. Then, the next day, we got to see Wild Turtle start versus Gravity. So benched, unbenched. Well, what was it going to be? Fantasy owners are a little bit angry, and to them I say, well, welcome to fantasy sports. But the bigger question is, how is this going to play out for TSM in the future? Let's actually go over what led to this decision in the first place, which was Wild Turtle's quickly declining production, especially when compared to last split. Now, last split, Wild Turtle had the best numbers of his career. He led the league in kills with 108 and did more damage per minute than any other starting AD carry in the LCS. His success was one of the main reasons the TSM looked so strong heading into MSI and during the NA playoffs. TSM had a second carry threat to complement Bjergsen, and it was working wonders. But this split, it's been a different story entirely. Instead of being first in the league in kills, he is now 14th. And instead of doing the most damage for 80 carries, he's ranked dead last amongst 80 carries who have started more than 2 games. And that's with TSM sitting in first place. Normally, it's easy for an 80 carry to excel on a winning team. But for an 80 carry to flounder while their team still achieves victories, that's a rarity. So enter Keith. Last split, he had the unenviable task of filling in for perhaps the highest profile acquisition in League of Legends history when he subbed in for Piglet. And well, Keith, he didn't disappoint.
Here come the shots. Keith trying to focus down a Link. That was a headshot. Can he get one more? Peacemaker making peace throughout the land.
Holy moly. Keith is fed.
In his first 6 games, Keith had more kills per game, 7.3, than any player in the LCS. He also helped Team Liquid win 5 of those 6 games at a time when Team Liquid couldn't buy a win with Piglet in the lineup. Consider that Keith entered into a chaotic situation while still in high school, played his first 6 games in that environment on the LCS stage, and then posted the best numbers of all 80 carries in the LCS. I'd say that's some potential. Now let's look at last week. Both players got a chance to play, and while it's hard to make a direct comparison based on the difference of opponents, even with Keith looking meh, he still dealt more damage per minute than any 80 carry in the LCS not named Piglet. Now, for comparison's sake, Turtle averages 398 damage per minute in games this split, whereas Keith, he posted 595 in his underwhelming debut with TSM. But there's far more to decide who the starting 80 carry for TSM should be. The Wild Turtle camp can point to a multitude of big TSM moments during Turtle's time. His pentakill during his LCS debut, his quadra kill to end the series with Cloud9 in 2014 and send TSM to Worlds as the #1 seed, or any of his quadra kills last split in the NA playoffs. I mean, Turtle has been front and center in so many of TSM's successes that it is hard to imagine the team without him. But Keith is also a potential star. He too lives up to the moment, as has been seen during his short stint in the LCS. He's posted a 7-1 record along with monster numbers. So at the end of the day, Turtle or Keith both make sense as suitable starters for TSM. Turtle has the aggressiveness and history, but needs to pick up his production, whereas Keith, he's the newer model with more upside, but he lacks experience and polish. The coming weeks are going to decide a lot. Whoever performs best will start. And Wild Turtle, he knows all about what can happen after a big performance by a substitute.
MIA
Roshan. That's going to be a quadra kill. Can he get the pentakill? Front you, 1-on-1. It's going to be the pentakill for a beautiful play. Wild Turtle stepping up. Chaos, you have something to answer right now because your replacement is doing a fantastic job.
And of course, TSM can always decide later who they actually want to start. They're going to pull an SKT and just play the worst mid laner sometimes. But seriously, let's turn over to China's LPL. We actually have a lot of mid-series substitutions normally in the LPL. We got Ezreal Gaming up on the screen here. And Pawn finally is back. You can see him on the screen right there, right behind Jin Jiao. This guy is ready to go crush some people. He's been awesome all the time. But first, Mako is ridiculous. This
oh my goodness. Where do you think you're going, boy? Get back here. Mako's got him.
The League of Draven, first blood, 650 gold for that kill, thanks to the League of Draven passive. And then more big plays. Tower dive kills Ray, but that's going to turn around.
Clearlove's going to come in, slow him down. Everybody gets cornered here. And Jin Jiao, this Draven, he's taking it into Crystal.
Yeah.
And they're crushing him with it.
That's a good way to style on someone. Are you a Draven main? That's cute, because we have our own Draven main. He's like 8-0 at this point. Pawn, you know, wants to be like Phoenix. Nice flash on the knockup, actually, and then just kills people. Ray helps, but kind of a 1v3.
Ray really impressed me as well. Not only is he playing these carry top laners at full attack damage, but the Riven plays are always fun to watch.
Yeah, so big Riven right there. More kills, though, for Jin Jiao. Draven kind of, as he should be, stealing the show with every single game he plays. By the way, this is under 20 minutes. Mid inhibitor is dead, and they're killing people inside the base.
Oh,
I mean, this
Mako!
is ridiculous.
Whew, yeah, follow you to the ends of the earth.
All right,
this game,
so,
though, that's pretty much all we just said about that one. That one's done.
18 kills in 20 minutes for one team. Stupid good. Let's move on to game two. This one, I guess, a little bit closer. You can see the kills are kind of close, but this is a sick play by Clearlove.
Oh, yeah. He starts it off in a 1 versus 2, and then he calls in the cavalry here. Superman. Ray comes in to finish him off.
Riven in game one, Jarvan in game two. Ray is fast becoming my favorite top laner in League of Legends. Everyone realizes that L is just dead, and they're like, yeah, you can have him, Pawn.
Yep, Pawn on his classic Fizz, able to get some work done this game as well.
12-6 in kills, 26 minutes in. I think it's one last fight. Desperation Baron for Snake. They're only down 1,000 gold, but this fight gets crushed right here.
Yep. The party is crashed by Clearlove on Gragas, comes through, and the rest of the team cleans them all up.
Really, really convincing fight. 2 Draven games in a row. Ray is awesome. Pawn's awesome. The entire team of EDG is awesome. One of their first 2-0s in a long time. And Snake are one of the higher up teams in the standings. So, of course, that makes it an impressive win. And so with wins like that being rare for Ezreal Gaming, I'm actually glad to see Pawn back in for Bamey, who'd been playing mid for a while.
Yeah.
Night and day, it feels like.
I'm sure a lot of the EDG fans are really glad to see Pawn back as well. He brings so much to the team with, the kill pressure that he exerts. He's an aggressive guy, and his roams are very impressive as well. He just kind of brings the whole team together, no matter what combination of subs they happen to be using.
Yeah, it's true. Def's not even playing right now, and yet, everything's doing so well. Mako, obviously impressive. But yeah, what I love most about Pawn is the fact that, though he's very aggressive, of course, he has so many different styles available. He was first known for his assassin play. He was a Fizz main, all this kind of stuff. But look, he played
still plays it today.
Yeah, still plays it. Like the only guy to actually still play Fizz, and yet, works with it. But also, he learned Azir. He learned to play Lulu really well. He can be a support mid if he needs to be, and is still good at that, as though that was his initial style.
Yeah.
The fact that he's so adaptable is impressive to me.
He's definitely important to them. I'm really interested to keep track of the different permutations that EDG go through with their lineup because they have so many subs.
True.
Definitely am a fan of these new guys that showed up today, but it's a very small sample size.
It is a small sample. Either way, I think we can prove that Pawn is the most important piece on EDG's chessboard. And, of course, thinking about who are the most important players, it brings us to our Twitter question of the week. We're going to ask you guys, who is the most invaluable player to their team across the Premier regions? And, for example, you could say Doublelift for TSM, because how could they win so much without an easy punching bag? But seriously, SKT Faker, Fnatic Yellowstar, who's the most valuable? And so while we're talking about the Premier regions, it also is a good time to bring up last week's Twitter question. We asked you guys who are the top 5 teams from around the world, and here are your top 5 answers. Number 1, who else? SK Telecom T1, 97% of the vote. No one surprised here. Second place, also no surprise, Edward Gaming at 87%. Fnatic, Team Solo Mid, and AHQ round out the top 5, with QG and the Coup Tigers just missing the list at 26 and 25% respectively.
And meanwhile, in North America, 2 teams that didn't make that list were trying to claw their way back to the top of the standings, as a struggling Counterlogic Gaming had a very inconsistent Team Impulse on the Rift for a bit of a mismatch as well. A lot of people thought this was going to be going CLG's way. after their streak. Was this going to be where they'd stop it?
Rush was laughing there, but he's not going to be laughing after this play. He goes for the kill on the double lift, but the minions help him out, and he flashes for the kill.
Thought Doublelift was going to keep going for this, but he didn't have to. It was the call from Aframu that said, don't worry, I'm going to secure the kill, buddy. This is the synergy that CLG's been looking for the whole split, but it's the synergy they don't seem to carry throughout an entire game anymore.
A couple of summer spells, boom, they secure the kill. That potion saved him from the red buff. Here, though, this is one of the first games we've seen Impulse come from behind and take the game here. Big play right here at the Dragon. They chase down CLG.
11-6, they're able to get a bit of a gold lead before this fight as they came from behind and absolutely crush. Doublelift got caught in between the channel there in the jungle, instantly taken out, couldn't provide anything for the team, and Impact really made some nice plays just organizing the fights.
Yeah, and off of that, Team Impulse are able to take control of the game. This was facilitated, by the way, by Xiao buying a Medjai Soul Stealer while he was 0-2. And they were able to hold on, play defense, and come back.
And that's one of the craziest things, because you think about it, and I think 20 minutes in there, Doublelift was saying, we can't lose this game. There's no way we can lose it.
People have to be careful about that mentality. With the rise of poke, there's so many champions where you beat them early, Kog'Maw, Ezreal, all these poke champions, but they'll come to get you later.
Yeah, they will. That loss against Tip, combined with CLG's earlier loss against Gravity, dropped Doublelift and crew from 2nd place into 5th place at the tie with Team Impulse. Now, this is their lowest spot in the standing that we've seen this split. They surge, they fall, and it's happening again. History is repeating itself.
I mean, we keep saying it's crazy how they fall off like this, but their history is riddled with fall-offs like these, drop-offs like these. You know, they were #1 in the North American LCS, but oh my God, the baby is crying. Hotshot, no. But yeah,
it turns from a hype train into a hype wagon. And even those wheels are falling off now.
Yeah, maybe the cinder block wasn't the best idea, but honestly, they were #1 in North America. Then go 0-4. You have to really be cautious about what that does to the mentality of the team, just because this is CLG, who have such a history of this.
Yeah, I feel like they always have huge roaming in the beginning. They play the lane swaps, and then the one game they don't lane swap, things start to fall apart. It doesn't seem like Aframu gets his roam on anymore, and they throw away all the fundamentals that got them a win streak into 1st place in the beginning of the split.
The reason it's so confusing is because there's very little to tie this together from year to year for CLG. They've changed coaching staff, they've changed the house that they live in, they've changed their jungler, their mid laner, their top laner, pretty much everything. They've changed so much, and yet the same problems still come up. You know, towards the end of the season, the draft goes kind of weird, then the individual play starts to go, and rough times for CLG.
Few minds thinking alone when the team should be thinking together. Hopefully CLG can pick things up as the season goes on.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of League of Learning. This time we're going to be talking about Runeglaive Ezreal. Everyone's been playing, and we saw Xiao just do it against CLG, but it's happening all over the world. European, LCS, NALCS, 100% pick ban in Turkey. He got played in the LCK last night because they're now in that patch. We're going to be seeing a lot of this guy in the future, but why have we not seen him until now? Old AP Ezreal had a suit of problems. Everyone has their own reason for why you wouldn't be seeing AP Ezreal in the old days and why you see it now, but as always, it's a combination of reasons. You used to have to build a Lich Bane, which required you to also build a mana item. You had to max W because the turn on for Lich Bane was so late you couldn't max Mystic Shot, and the wave clear was atrocious. Runeglaive solves all of those problems. So you get Runeglaive, it is a Lich Bane replacement, it gives you mana, you can max your Mystic Shot because it makes it do magic damage instead of physical damage, and if the AoE from Runeglaive wasn't enough, you also get to smite it with Ranger's Trailblazer. So many positive things for the Runeglaive Ezreal that help him get to his powerful points. Because previously, it took a really long time for Ezreal to turn on. Tier Deathcap Lich Bane was one route, in which case 7,000 plus gold, that's not even counting boots. Athene's and Lich Bane was a slightly weaker version, but still cost you nearly 6,000 gold. Now you just build a Runeglaive, and any item on top of that is gravy. It just makes you stronger and stronger, and you start off at 2,250 gold, which is very achievable by a mid laner in the early game, which gets you eventually to the full build, which, by the way, does a fair bit of damage. Next patch, I hear there is a nerf for the Luden's Echo. It will not apply on Mystic Shot, but that's just the little purple part right there. All the other damage numbers will remain the same. So it's not like the Luden's nerf not applying on Mystic Shot will have a huge impact on AP Ezreal. He's here to stay. Nearly 1,000 damage on the basic abilities. A full combo is nearly 4,000 damage, and it's the ease in which Ezreal can use these abilities and the low cooldowns. Other people at full build can reach close to these numbers, but Ezreal gets to spam them from long range, which makes him a little bit strong, I would say. But that's not to say he does not have weaknesses. He is a mid laner who takes smite, so that makes his positioning more punishing. If Ezreal makes a mistake, no cleanse, no barrier, dead. Other than that, he gives opponents total free farm. Last week, Phoenix played against AP Ezreal, got 104 CS at 10, the highest of any player in the North American LCS this split, because Ezreal really can't harass him, and he has been countered, at least in the LCS. He is 4-4. I think that's going to improve a little bit, but it's not like he is infallible. So I hope you learned a little bit about AP Ezreal in this edition of League of Learning. Good luck out there.
And now let's arcane shift from OP champions to OP teams, as Edward Gaming's dominance in the LPL means QG was trailing EDG in points and heading into Week 7. But QG wanted to change that for the first time all summer, as a win against Vici Gaming would move them into a tie for the top spot along with the champions. We start this one 21 minutes in, where QG thinks they have the fight, but Vici thinks they have it as well. However, TNT and Doinby coming in huge on this one. The Orianna play and the shields. TNT dives himself right into the fight. Doesn't even care where the Alistar is. That's what he's trying to avoid. But he says being on the front line is where the team's going to get the best kills, and he is correct. They get the full house. Orianna's over Vayne's, Doinby's over TNT's. They move on to Baron 19-17. You can see it was a bloodbath throughout this entire game. The LPL, right? That's how it goes all the time. A big fight here at Baron, and again, QG is just able to lock down the fight. More plays coming from Doinby, and his play in the mid lane has really allowed QG to stay versatile and control these types of fights. Keep your eye on Swift as well. From Game 1 to Game 2, he was a huge factor throughout the entire series. 23-18 is going to be the finalizer on that one. 43 minutes in. Games are getting pretty long here as teams just keep duking it out. There's nobody to take down turrets by the end of the game. Starting this one off, it's going to be straight to the mid lane. Hatong gets hit up, Gragas, as well as Yasuo onto Doinby. It's going to be tough, but here comes Swift. They try to take down Doinby, but Swift, this is the Swift show pretty much. You can get a title on this second half of the series in his name. Looking towards the bottom lane now. He's already got the control through the tri-brush. QG had map vision this early in the game to just keep romping around and do whatever they wanted. Mata couldn't get out alive. Swift with the chrono break back. You thought he was going down. So did Mata. But it's going to be the Boomerang Blade from TNT taking it down. Great communication, great control from QG. And if they really want to catch up to EDG, these are the kind of plays they need to keep making throughout the season. A steal coming in now from Swift. Gonna have to have a replay on that one if you can watch PTL once again after this. He had an amazing game all series long. Like I said, Game 1 to Game 2, Swift as well as Doinby and TNT coming up huge for QG, and they're really looking for the top of the table out there in the LPL. That series closed out the LPL's 7th week of the summer split, so let's take a look at the current standings. EDG and QG are now tied in points, with the tiebreaker going to EDG based on series wins. Master 3 and OMG are close behind them, with Snake, Invictus, LGD, and Vici rounding out the current top teams. To take a closer look at QG and their rise to the top of the table, let's send it over to Julian, Pastry Time Car.
Thank you very much, guys. And joining me this time is Jake Spawn Tiberi. How you doing, man?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me on the show.
So let's talk LPL. I was going to dive straight into QG all day long here. So this team tied for first, I think, right now in China. Absolutely insane-looking squad.
Yeah, they certainly are. Xiaogu coming through 24 points. They're the only team to not drop an 0-2 so far. They're securing themselves a lot of, I guess, praise across there in the LPL, and they seem to be a definite contender.
Yeah, look like a top Chinese team right now, but do you think they deserve that ranking? Are they right up there with the likes of EDG?
Yeah, well, you deserve every win you get. Definitely think that they are up there with EDG. To EDG's credit, they've tried new things. You know, they've been swapping out their mid laners. Bamey's had a lot of rift time. They've also used Koro as well as Amazing J up in the top lane. Now they've added Ray and Jin Jiao in the bottom lane. So they've been mixing it up. But, you know, QG, definitely credit where credit's due. They're one of the top teams.
Yeah, and look, I know there's a lot of good things to say about Clear Love, their jungler, but I want to talk about QG's jungler, Swift. This man is, for me, just a god.
Yeah, he's a very good jungler over there. Don't know whether I'm going to give him the better than clear love title yet. You know, I put him up there with maybe Kakao as the second and third best junglers over there. But the former CJ Entus Frost jungler is having a split to remember. You know, he plays the meta. Rek'Sai Gragas also has a Nocturne and the Echo to rely on if he wants to go dive. But his Nidalee also coming out lately gives them an AP threat in the jungle. And for a team that already is dangerous, a fourth threat is a lot to deal with.
Yeah, Swift's been great so far. Okay, I think we can probably set up a top 3 there on him. But what about Doinby? That's the other guy we always think of when we think about Swift, because that's just the dual lane.
Yeah, it certainly is. Maybe a little bit of a bromance happening over there in the middle lane, because Doinby, that was a guy we had questions about. Him and V, their top laner, we questioned their champion pool. You know, V, Hecarim, Nah only. But Doinby, we said he was a support player, played the Lulu, played the Morgana, and he still plays those champions incredibly well. But, you know, he's added a Victor. He's added an Orianna. He also has the Kassadin when he needs to play an Assassin. This guy is just incredible wherever they put him.
Yeah, super versatile, massive playmaker. Just has so much going for him that we didn't really get until later on, now that we're 7-8 weeks deep into the LPL. But how good is he really compared to the other talent? Because we got Cool, we got Pawn, we got Rookie, we got Godby, we got Dade. There's a lot of mid laners in the LPL.
Yeah, you know, I give him maybe top 5 at this point. I think he's been much more consistent than the likes of maybe Cool, who's had some up and down performances. But when you think about the great mid laners, you think of Pawn, Dade, you got Godby in there as well. Probably Godby above Dade right now. And they have just such a deep talent pool that top 5 definitely is nothing to scoff at. And Doinby, one of the newer players, making a name.
Yeah, I think he deserves that. I guess how good is he? We'll find out as we move closer towards playoffs. But given that we are moving kind of towards the end, Worlds is on the horizon kind of at this point, given that the LPL still has a while to go. How good are QG internationally, do you think? Because we haven't seen them play in big international tournaments, but they do have strength as a side.
Yeah, they certainly do. You know, the biggest question for me right now is we haven't seen them play best of series. Best of 5s coming through. They're going to be definitely something to watch out for. But right now for me, MSI told us a lot. EDG, SKT, still up there as the top 2 teams in the world. Who's better? I guess we could argue for days. Coup Tigers having a resurgence right now. Maybe QG up there in the top 4. IG, for me, maybe rounds out the top 5. So 3 Chinese teams, couple of Korean teams. They definitely seem to be the best of the best.
Well, QG's certainly looking good, but I guess we'll have to find out just how good. But that's done for your weekly dose of LPL. Back to you guys across the pond.
While the LPL teams have 4 more weeks to lock down a playoff spot, this is the final week of the summer split for the LMS. Right now, HQ Esports Club, the Flash Wolves, and Hong Kong Esports have all qualified for the playoffs, which leaves just one final spot remaining. And that will go to either Midnight Sun Esports, the Taipei Assassins, or Machi Esports. This morning, Machi and TPA split their series with each other, moving them 1 point closer to MSE's total. But if MSE manages to sweep their series tomorrow, that will put them out of reach and lock them in for that 4th spot. And I have to mention that Hong Kong Esports will be playing at a disadvantage this week because the team have lost their starting AD carry Raisin, who was banned from competing after it was discovered that he was ELO boosting. Now, that gives MSE a good chance to advance, but if the series is a tie or if MSE loses, TPA or Machi could catch them if they manage to sweep their final matches.
And while the final games of the LMS Summer Split will be huge, you can't deny the epicness of our 2 BF games of the week. Those will feature Fnatic taking on 2 second-place teams as they battle both H2K and Origin. But what makes this a true set of BF games is that Fnatic can tie and then break the LCS all-time record for the longest win streak. Fnatic already holds the EU record of 12 consecutive wins in a row, but in their first match against H2K Gaming on Thursday, they are poised to tie Cloud9's North American LCS win streak of 13 in a row. And if Fnatic manages to win that game, a victory over Origin on Friday means they would own the record, and that would be a BFG indeed. And while that's impressive, a win over those 2 squads could mean even bigger and better things for Huni and the crew. To find out more, let's send it over to European casters Devin Pyrotechnics Young and James Stress-O'Leary.
Thank you very much, Riv. We are going to talk a little bit about Fnatic and how amazing they're blazing through this series so far. Right now, sitting at 12-0, 2 tough teams ahead of them, Stress, but if they take them out, they will break a record for both LCS regions.
Yeah, it's a mammoth task ahead of them when you look at it. H2K and Origin in the same week, but once they're past that week, nothing really, I feel, can stop Fnatic on the way to that 18-0 mark. You look at the 4 teams they have to face after that, they pushed them aside almost with relative ease. So Fnatic, if any team is going to go undefeated in a Premier League here in the West, Fnatic seem to be the one that are going to do it.
I think you're right here. I mean, you got to look at the way that they've been trouncing those opponents. They even made H2K the last time they met look not particularly skillful in lane swap scenarios. They were able to outplay them fantastically, and it just seems they're a cut above just about everybody else here in Europe, and in all likeliness, in the North American region as well.
I think that's a fair statement to say. Fnatic on a macro level seem to be head and shoulders above of everybody else in the West when you look at their play. Maybe even putting a statement towards themselves being the best Western team of all time. I mean, Cloud9 from 2013, 25-3, but that was before we expanded to 10 teams as well. So, you know, it's an interesting one. I feel like Fnatic are a team that have so much more still to prove, though.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot looming for them. Of course, if they do win out this next week, or this week rather, they will be able to lock themselves up for a first place spot going into the playoffs. They want it in spring. There's no reason to suggest they can't do it in summer. Automatic Worlds qualification, and that's the real proving ground.
Right.
There's teams there that you cannot make a single tiny mistake against.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time we saw Fnatic on an international stage was with Steelback, and against SKT they took them to the limit. But there's always something to be said for the LCK and LPL teams when they get to Worlds. Once they've gone through their own you know, playoff stages into the best of fives, they seem to have that extra level. Do Fnatic have that? Right now, I actually don't see it, but we haven't got to our playoffs yet. Fnatic, they haven't played in best ofs. They haven't even lost a game, so we haven't seen how they bounce back. But certainly, I think they're in for a good finish at Worlds.
I think so, indeed. We'll have to see if they can do it, but we'll have to rewind a little bit and see how they can take it in the playoffs. And even before then, how they can take this week. Will they break the record? You'll have to tune in to find out. But for now, that's all we've got for here in Europe. Let's send it back to the guys in LA.
Now it's time to sit back and bask in the glory of everyone's favorite fantasy, Primetime League's Fantasy League of Legends, the Legendary League. Now first, let's take a look back at last week. Mark Merrill handily took down Rick Fox and remains undefeated for now. Dante Basco beat the Imagine Dragons, and Gordon Hayward took down Chandler Riggs. And because I respect QuickShot so much, I made sure we had a close matchup, but of course, I still had to prove that NA is indeed greater than EU, so I won by less than a single point. But it looks like, Trevor, you needed that brain cake after all for yourself. But I'm not just going to look at my past victories. I've got ones ahead of me to look forward to. So let's see who's going to be losing next week. Mark Merrill will try to keep his Fnatic-like run of wins going up against Dante. QuickShot will find out what the Fox says, and Chandler will wrestle the Dragons. Meanwhile, I'll be taking Gordon Hayward on. Thankfully, not in basketball. That would be ugly. No, it's going to be Fantasy League of Legends, of course. And of course, you guys can show your levels of fantasy fandom by predicting the winner on Twitter. So send a tweet to @LOL along with the hashtag FreakWin if you think I will win as usual, or toss Gordon some love with hashtag GordonWin. And now, to give you guys a little more insight on how to build your own OP team, let's take a look at the nuts and bolts of LCS Fantasy. We're going to start with the studs. So Liquid, they may have lost their sub in Keith, but they're certainly glad to have Piglet, 62.9 points. Front runner here, really awesome. Followed closely by Pepe Nero, 62.2. That big, long game against Fnatic, obviously awesome. He did well on that AP Ezreal. And finally, Candy Panda. Even though SK lost both their games, 58.2 points. Second straight trip to the stud column as well. Super awesome for Candy Panda. But let's move on to the duds. Nif, poor Nif, he led the descent into single digits, less than 5 points. Element still doing very poorly, very poorly. It's really unfortunate. Wild Turtle wasn't far behind. He only played one game, and in that game, TSM lost, and he only got 7 points. Very rough, but we warned you guys not to play this guy. You guys were warned. Finally, Zion Spartan cracked 10 points, but CLG have lost 4 in a row. This is going really rough for CLG. A typical late split collapse for them is pretty rough. But let's move on to the pair of alerts we have. Kind of more like reminders because we talked about these guys before, but Meteos is still down. High is still playing in the jungle for him. C9, even with High, went 0-2. Guys, find a new jungler who's not Meteos, and probably who isn't High, as High only got 17.2 points for the week. Pretty rough overall. Also, Keith and Wild Turtle, you saw their point performances from last time. Playing only one game per week is already pretty bad. We know Turtle is playing for Saturday. We don't know what it's going to be for Sunday, but either way, the chance of playing only one game is a risk that I wouldn't recommend you guys take, so think of other AD carries to play. And finally, let's talk about Sleeping Beauties. Up first, Candy Panda. Oh yes, double stud, I should say. only being played by 19% of you, but SK actually starting to do a whole lot better. Also, they play the Copenhagen Wolves and Gambit this week, which should be 1, maybe 2 wins. Probably worthwhile. Also, his jungler teammate Sven Skaren. In the overall split, he's 11th right now in jungler points per game, but SK are winning more. They have an easy schedule. He's probably worth starting in most leagues at this point, so think about this guy pretty heavily. And also, if you're looking for a mid laner, look at Keen. Right now, only half own him, only a third are starting him, but his points per game, just from the split overall, I mean, he should be starting in pretty much every 6 or 8 team league as a mid or a flex. Gravity also got an easy schedule this week of Cloud9 and Enemy. Keen should be in, most of Gravity should be in. These guys are going to be doing really well this week. But I hope that helps you guys with your bottom line this week. So good luck and have fun with your lineups. But guys, you don't have to wait until the games start to have fun because there's a party going on right now with the pros. It's time for mic check.
I'm ready to carry.
Nice. Okay. That's the attitude, man.
We're gonna go in and we're gonna win.
No. Hello, team.
Hello.
Sorry.
That's how we test our microphones, Keith.
Do you feel the spirit of Yellow Star sitting in this chair?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Are you a fanboy?
Reckless next to me, boys.
He's writing to the enemy team.
Who's writing to the enemy team?
Rain over.
He's leaking strategy.
Punish him.
Don't talk with the enemy team.
Why not?
Because this is not like a friend match. Afterwards, we are not going to kiss and party together, you know.
Maybe he will.
we have to smash them, not be friends with them.
Sorry.
I'm fine.
Slowly.
Gragas!
Nice!
Go Drake, burst Drake. No, I get this guy. I'm just killing this guy. I go.
I'm praying for you.
Do you know where's Caesar?
I have flash already.
I can turn as well.
No, just back.
Shurima Desert.
Shurima Desert.
I was picking at my scar with my hands. You know how that shit goes. Playing some basketball.
Can you like fully straighten
Got my hand on the rim and it really fucking hurts and I got stitches.
Combo 3 second.
What the?
I'm back. Combo.
Guys, I'm pushing bot.
Okay, five. Hey, hello.
Back.
Hello.
Coming.
Penta, get
Go. Someone go.
Penta. What are you doing, man? No, you. What are you doing? Just stop. I know so.
When does he keep spawning? It's stone. Go.
No, we took it. No.
It's not stone.
It's not Son, he's like
yes.
Holy shit, we won, guys! No, don't. Wait, sit down. Chill, guys. Chill.
No, you suck.
I just like how Vander got out of his chair, like the turret's still alive, and just like, all right, guys, we got this. Oh, wait, this is okay. Just kidding. We'll keep playing League of Legends.
My work here is done.
Whatever. Supports don't matter in base pushes. Either way, let's check out how the LCK is going here. So the Korean standings looked when we head into week 7. Now, SKT, they continue to lead the pack. They were 9-0 back then. Obviously a great team.
But a line of serious contenders were right behind them, from the KOO Tigers straight down to KT Rolster.
And with teams hoping to play leapfrog in the standings, we've taken a lot of roster changes, actually, in Korea. First up, KT Rolster played a new support, former SKT member Peekaboo. He's in place of Fixer, and they looked for some revenge over Najin EM Fire here. And it ended up being a very interesting game.
Yeah, so let's start it out in the top lane here. Duke gonna use the equalizer to kill the minions, but Someday says, wow, you have no ultimate? I have an ultimate.
It's even named after himself. I mean, it's a really easy one to go for. So Someday starts out really well, and this TP next up into the dragon fight is so good.
Yeah, today is Someday's time to shine. He is just crushing it from the top lane down to the bottom lane here, and they're able to pick up the extra kill on Pure.
Yeah, Peekaboo also, nice little flash tornado to help set it up. So he's, he's participating in these. But yeah, Someday is the guy. He's getting some help, but Someday is so freaking good this game, man. He finds Watch, jumps over him, slows him down, bunch of CC, more help coming in. Thank you for the kill. Watch goes down. All right, I guess you can steal it, Arrow. That's fine as well.
Yeah, Someday's on to the next target. Cleanup crew, go ahead, pick up all the kills. I'm going to wrangle everybody up for you. And man, they were able to take that game.
85% kill participation from a top laner, definitely impressive for him. Absolutely great games. Let's go on to game 2. And this one, actually, this is the Peekaboo show.
Peekaboo,
into the jungle.
I see you. Where you go and watch? Taking out the first kill right there. And yeah, Peekaboo reunited with Arrow, and they combine there for a pretty good play. Here's another one as well.
Okay, less good from Someday, but it's okay. The rest of them are here. Hook over the wall, sets up the kill. Thank you very much. Grabs that one. Starting to go better, starting to go even better. Another great fight. Here comes this one. Flays 3 of them. Continues to set the fight up well.
Yeah, gonna take a while to finish off Watch here. Not the highest DPS trio of the team, but they take him down eventually.
Yeah, and even gets a lantern to try to chase the next kill down. Doesn't look good, but who cares? Desperation Baron now for Najin, down almost 5,000 gold, and KT's here.
Yep, put up the box at the entrance, and they steal the Baron, and they're gonna clean up everybody here. KT gonna massacre inside the Baron pit. Oop, missed a little bit on that taunt, but not gonna matter.
Not really, no. OQ on a signature Vayne gets chased down, Score gets a kill, and a Baron steal. And that means it's a 2-0, of course, a very impressive game for KT. Rolster starting to move up on the standings. And, of course, they picked up Peekaboo last month, but this was his first time actually playing with the team. How do you feel he did?
Yeah, I'm impressed. I like the guy. You know, he came right in, melded really well. You can see he worked well with his old partner. So, yeah, definitely a good move.
All right, very impressive player there. Let's move on, though, and check the standings to see what it all looked like after that game. KT's 2-0 sweep jumped them up and over CJ Entus into a tie for 4th with Najin. CJ, of course, slid down to that newly vacated 6th place spot as a result, but CJ got to play next. They went to climb the standings. They put in a new top laner, Helper, in for Shy, and they took on the Jin Air Green Wings in this one.
Yeah, you have big shoes to fill. Even though, you know, Shy has been on the decline, this is a legendary League of Legends player, and Helper takes the rumble, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, it goes 50 minutes into the game. Typical Jin Air fashion, 50 minutes, 6 kills, but an overextended top laner means a kill comes through, and this means a bit of chase down potential. This gives a little bit more time for CJ to actually make some moves around this game.
Yeah, I mean, Jin Air got so far ahead of this game, but CJ, never give up.
Never, ever, ever get up. And the equalizer managed to land on a couple of tanks as well. Che missed his anchor into the wall as well, and this means chase down, and despite being down 10, 9,000 gold, 2 more kills picked up.
No Nexus turrets, 2 inhibitors
Doesn't
down.
matter, doesn't matter. They get Baron off that one, and this means the next fight gets a little bit easier, and Coco is just stupidly massive on Rise. He is basically hard carrying in the back line here on these fights. Jin Air can't get in far enough, and kills start coming through.
Oh yeah, 58 minutes in, a team fight win is gonna have very, very important repercussions as CJ are able to clean them up inside the base.
Yeah.
And they will be able to push it forward.
It took 3 fights like this until they can get the minion lines outside their damn base. When 2 inhibs are down, you can't win a game off of the team fight push. So finally it all respawns, finally a good team fight, and we can move on to the next one around here. Again, midway into the game, but it still is going well for CJ.
Coco was able to use the TF to get into the back line here, cut him off, and they're able to pick up the extra kill on Annie.
So, small gold lead for them. They can continue to move on forward in this one. Chaser trying to make big plays on a space.
Oh, he does, but Twisted Fate. Yes, Coco's here.
Gold card, easy land, couple auto attacks, stack deck. Next one. Oh, he waits for the cards instead. Doesn't even want to go for the stack deck kill. That's fine. Lich Bang gold card, easy peasy. And it continues to go. You can see like the kills are very close, but the TF catches here. Chaser is the chasee. Goes down.
Coco, he's everywhere on Twisted Fate. It's magic, freak.
Man, Coco is so invaluable to CJ Entus here. You can see them pushing now in for the Nexus itself. It's going to be the game, a 48, nearly 49-minute game. Obviously a very close BO3. Both these games very long. Both these games had some gold leads for Jin Air partway through. But hey, 2-0 CJ.
Yeah, extremely long, but they're able to get it done.
All right, so of course the gamble to replace Shine did pay off for CJ in this series. Helper into this one. I want to ask your thoughts first.
Yeah. A lot less sold on Helper than I am on the Peekaboo change. I mean, he had some good Rumble ultimates, but also some poor ones. And so, yeah, still not sold.
Yeah, game 1, he lost lane to Trace. Game 2, he got help, so he knocked the turret down, and then was worse at the teleport game. So
he was playing Maokai, was able to soak up a lot of damage, though.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe he'll improve from here.
All right, whatever. It was an okay top laner. His team won, but we can check out the standings one more time.
So after last week's matches plus 2 from this morning, here are the current LCK standings hot off the press. SKT took down Anarchy this morning, giving them a commanding 11-0 lead. And the Coup Tigers remain in second place at 8-3. But after taking down Najin this morning, Jin Air has moved ahead of CJ into third.
And rounding at the bottom of the standings and the roster changes in Korea, Longju IM has added 2 new players. Up first, Paragon. This guy is someone you guys might all recognize. He played in Korea a couple years ago. He played for Winter Fox in the spring split as a coach, and then as an AD carry, and
from what we saw from him in North America, he didn't have the biggest impact for the team. Maybe it'll turn out better for him there, though. The bigger move, I think, is the addition of former Najin, White Shield, Black Sword top laner Expessin, though.
Expessin is actually a player that I think you can be excited about. We haven't seen much from him in a while, but back in the Season 3 days, this guy was one of the best top laners in the world. People said that his Renekton was literally the best in the world, so maybe this guy has that fighter spice to bring back up. And I mean, I like seeing players come back in and hope that they're good.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to see how all these moves do turn out for them.
Even though we have new faces throughout the regions, one thing will always be the same. Eye-blistering plays that make your jaw drop. Check out the best of the best, or as Piku, Helper, Paragon, and Expession would like to call it now, the Penta. Coming in at number 5, Doublelift holds off the double threat in this 1v2.
Except for the fact that he's probably dead.
Yeah, okay, he's probably dead. Rash, red buff. Ooh, Doublelift! Doublelift gets first blood. He's going to chase him down. How about that for lane swap play?
Sneaking in at number 4 was Ninja's skillful 1v1.
Burned the summoner spells up TDK in doing so they punish that immediately.
Oh, whoa. Wow, Ninja forces the flash from Inox, but he... Oh! What is he doing? What a play from Ninja! Flash Q under the turret.
Wow. That's a testing your limits play right there by Ninja once again. He knew he was first to 6, went incredibly aggressive as soon as he had the cooldown for his Q once again. He flashed back in and trusted his ability to land the skill shot.
At number 3, Pawn made all the right moves to pick up the triple kill.
Use all of the movement speed that comes off as Pawn might be caught, or he might kill someone.
Very aggressively, he turns onto Crystal, who's going low. He's 1v3, picked up a kill, flashes to dodge the hook. Pawn with the plays, a triple kill.
The mid laner for EDG is back.
Tunneling in at number 2, all the way from Brazil, it was Kaboom Orange's Ziragadun with the flash headbutt.
Olha o que o Zirig faz, mitológico, o suporte da Kaboom Orange. Que jogada sensacional. O Tinoz acaba ficando com o abate e uma jogada do Zirig brilhante.
And our number 1 play of the week was a pentakill for Master 3's SMLZ that left 10 bodies on the Rift.
但是飞机这边的战斗力还是不错，有个红 buff 非常的凶。这里扛进贝克路配合这个斯马尔贼能不能打出收割？一个 Q 技能没中，这边一张黄牌，但是没蓝了，蓝牌吸了一下，一张万能牌丢出来，
闪现过来，但是有一个金身，
一个 Q 技能漂亮，
漂亮。
斯马尔贼这边是凭借自己的操作拿了一个5杀，
一波团战10个人头，飞机拿了一个5杀，
这一波斯马尔贼太漂亮了。
Always a good time to be alive for a penta double ace.
Yeah, I mean, we've had double aces before, but no penta double aces.
Well, here's looking up. Future. There's only a few more weeks of summer splitting left, so make sure you send us your favorite pro plays while you can.
Just tweet them our way at LO Esports along with the hashtag #ThePenta so that we can show them some love.
That's right. And with that, we wrap up another episode of Primetime League. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again very soon.
All right, I didn't want to interrupt you this time, so I let you finish, but you did forget about our last hit. Several weeks ago, we showed you Team Solo Mid playing some games off the Rift in a motion-powered HyperX video.
Oh, that's right. Reddit user RutgerChill99, remember this guy, took that and added a bit more hype with Bjergsen in GIF form after the TSM TDK game. Check it out in our last hit.
It's all skill.